Welcome back to my Firefall guides. Today I'm going to cover the Arsenal. The Arsenal is a Tier 2 Dreadnought Battleframe. As you can tell, this frame is fat. First time I put it on, I think I was actually transitioning from one of the sniper frames to this frame. And as you've seen from my past guides, the sniper frames are really slim. This guy is just fat. I mean, look at the size of this frame. And it's not just the frame. I mean, the armor is big and bulky, yes. But it's the bodysuit underneath is just like, I don't know, man. It's like super inflated or padded or something. It's just gigantic. You hardly believe it's the same human pilot inside of this frame when you transition. Aside from that, you know, it's a very mundane looking frame. It's very flat. It's not flashy at all. But, you know, I guess the Dread frames are supposed to be built heavy and rugged, I suppose. His reactor pack in the back, it has these two little flip things on the top, which is supposedly was like his ammo buckets, or his where he's gonna pull his guns out of, because he's the Arsenal. Other than him being really fat, he's actually pretty slow as well. Having said that, he's probably the most mobile of the Dreadnought frames. I think his base walk and run speed is slightly higher than the rest. So that's the frame outlook in general. His unique primary weapon you can see here is called the LMG, the light machine gun, compared to the regular Dreadnought primary weapon, which is the HMG, the heavy machine gun, which is a type of minigun. Here, I'll show you the difference. Here's the heavy machine gun. I'll show you what that looks like quick. Yeah, big badass gun. You know, it's got a spin up and then just throws bullets everywhere. The LMG obviously is much smaller than the HMG. This weapon is like an assault rifle with a much larger clip, and the spread, your bullet spread, isn't as pronounced as it is with an assault rifle. So you can see the reticle for the LMG is very familiar to the assault rifle. Actually, do I have an assault rifle secondary? I do. So I can switch weapons here, and there's really not much of a change. It's actually a little bit tighter spread initially on the LMG. There's two fire modes for this machine gun. Your primary fire, like I said, you can see it spread out as it goes to a maximum size spread, and that's really not that bad a spread at a medium range. Oh, hello. It's an interesting mob up here. It's really not that bad of a spread at medium range. When you get to a longer range, if you hold down that fire, you know, you're talking a much bigger, you know, spread compared to if you were at closer range, where the spread's not going to be that big of a deal. You know, just using your geometry, the size of a cone. Further you get away, the larger your spread is. So that's the primary fire. The alt fire, as it reads here, secondary fire mode, is capable of penetrating shields while having a lower rate of fire. So as you saw right there, I did shoot right through the shield. And it is a slower rate of fire as well. But you don't lose your accuracy as much. The spread stays much tighter. It doesn't bloom out quite as far as a primary fire. And as you can tell, it shoots slower. It's a slower rate of fire. But having said that, there's also a damage bonus to rounds with your secondary fire. See, primary fire. Whoa. Primary fire is doing 182 to this guy. Secondary fire does 211. So there is a damage bonus for using your secondary, well, alt fire, if you will. But as you can see, it shoots much slower. So if it's worth it to you, you can use it. If you're up against a shielded opponent, you can use it. But just so you know, the difference in DPS isn't gigantic because of the bonus damage that you get for using your secondary fire. So that's the LMG. You can use it if you want it. You don't have to use it if you don't want it. You can always go back to the HMG if you want to. Like I said before, any Tier 2 suit has access to all the primary weapons and the abilities of the Tier 1 class that it branches from. So anything that you can use on the Accord Dreadnought, you can use on the Arsenal. A couple other notes about the LMG. It has the longest range of any of the primary weapons for the Dreadnought class. You can see here the range is 80 meters. LMG pushes that out to 110. Not huge, but it's a difference. There is another thing about this weapon that a lot of folks don't know because it's kind of obtuse in how to use it. If you go into your options and you go to key bindings and you go to combat, there's actually a category that you can bind for weapon scope. Now on most weapons that you're going to use a scope or aim down to sights, there's no alt fire for that weapon. Say your sniper rifles, your assault rifle secondary, your SMG secondary. All these weapons, when you aim down the barrel or iron sights, or if there's a scope available, it's always your alt fire button. Here there's an assigned alt fire button to what I just showed you, the secondary fire mode. So you can actually bind this to, let's see, I'll just bind it to button 1 on my keyboard, which is not very usable, but just to show you, you actually you can scope in with this weapon. It still blooms out quite a bit, as you can see. It actually looks pronounced because you're aiming down the scope. But if you want accuracy, a little bit longer range, you can use this scope ability. Alright, so that's the primary weapon. The abilities of the Arsenal are, in my opinion, lackluster. They're really nothing to write home about. Well, we'll just dive into them here. The first ability that you unlock is the combat shotgun. Now, this is it's a strange combination of effects for this weapon, tying into the fact that this is one of the most mobile Dreadnought frames. Once you activate this ability, there's a base duration of 3 seconds. It's a run speed boost, a movement boost, and here by default it gives you a 30% movement speed boost for 3 seconds. Great. So you can run to something or run away from something a little quicker. Some folks love this ability, and they use it on cooldown every time they get a chance. Personally, I have a hard time using a shotgun because I always play in third person. I never play this game in first person mode. And as some of you may have found out, there's a minimum shoot distance in third person. If you are right next to something and you've got your reticle on them, you don't hit them. You shoot to the side, because you can see the difference here where my gun is pointing right straight ahead and where my reticle is, which is way the hell off to the side. And that's, so you can do over the shoulder aiming. But if you're too close to something, you don't hit it. only when you get to a certain range do your bullets match up with your reticle. Not a big deal, right? Now, when you use your shotgun, I got a speed boost for a couple seconds, and now I'm slow. Your shotgun reticle is a circle like they normally are. The combat's no different. It gives you 8 shells by default, as you can see here. Magazine size, max deploy is 8. You can modify that with deployment modules. It'll increase the number of shots that you get with this ability. So it doesn't go away. You still have 8 shots, and it won't start cooldown until you use those 8 shots. So you can even switch back to your primary weapon if you want, and switch back to your shotgun. So that's kind of neat that it doesn't disappear if you switch weapons, or even if you reload your other weapon. But at the same time, you don't have access to your secondary weapon. If you have a grenade launcher and you prefer to use that, or an SMG, you can't get to those weapons until you clear out the shells from your shotgun, your combat shotgun. Now, a lot of people also feel it's underpowered right now, just because of the damage that it's set at, your minimum damage, your shot or your damage per round. I agree with that too, to some extent, because you have to really land all of those shots to get good damage out of this gun. And like I said before, if you're too close, you're not going to be landing all those shots. You're going to be shooting past them or off to the side of them. So I tend to get in really close with a shotgun, and that's usually to my detriment. So I'm not landing my shots. I'm not even shooting the person. So there you saw I shot my 8 shells, and now it's on cooldown, and it's actually it's a pretty quick cooldown. I've probably modded it for cooldown as well. So with it modded, recharge 37 seconds, so it's probably 45 seconds or so base recharge. Well, let's see right here. Recharge 45 seconds. Yep. Now to show you here, this is a ranging combat shotgun, so it was built with a range bonus, basically module built into it. And you can see here that the range bonus actually, instead of increasing the range of the shotgun, it decreases the spread size of your reticle. Personally, I prefer to put a potency module in this, or yeah, potency is good, or recharge if you like to use it. Potency, as you can see here, will increase the number of bullets or rounds inside your shell, essentially. So instead of doing, if you hit all your rounds, you'd be doing 12 times whatever damage you're doing. If you add potency, it'll add rounds inside that shot, so you'll be doing, like right here, this weapon would do 13 rounds in one shell, as opposed to the base, which is 12 rounds. So, you know, if your rounds are doing 150 damage, that's an extra 150 damage per round if you make all the shots. It's a bonus. I think I would go this way just because of the spread. You're increasing the chance that you're going to land more bullets, and if you do land a full shot, you're increasing your overall DPS anyway. But if you want to go for deploy, you'll get an extra shell. So 6 one way, half dozen another. It's up to you, personal preference. Do what you like. Moving on, the particle beam is usually the second ability that you will get. Particle beam is kind of neat. Basically, it gives you an ranged AoE option. Once you hit the button, just like the combat shotgun, it's not a timed ability. It basically puts the new weapon in your hand, which looks pretty cool, honestly. It's like a giant railgun, if you will, almost like a deep space railgun. So what it does, it gives you a single point reticle. Once you pull the trigger, it's got a short delay, and then it'll shoot out a beam which has an AoE blast. Like that. Now there's some delay in between shots. You can't click it right away. There's a little tiny cooldown in between before you can use it again. And you know, this ability does pretty good damage, honestly. Now, just like the combat shotgun, you can modify this. I chose, because this does pretty good damage, and it's got a slightly, well, the recharge is about the same here, but it's cooled. It's about the same recharge, but I prefer to use this over the combat shotgun, so I slotted it for max deployment, so I get 4 shots instead of the baseline 3 shots. Like I said before, this is good for AoE. You can use it at range, so you're not getting your face torn off while you're using it. There is splash damage, so be careful not using it too close to yourself, because you will take splash damage just like an assault would. But really, there's not much more to talk about for that ability. I like it. I use it when I can, when it's on cooldown. Like I said, all of these abilities, they're pretty quick cooldowns. They're under a minute. Some other classes have cooldowns that are over a minute. So it's easy to use. It's fun to use. This is probably my favorite ability out of the unique abilities for the arsenal. The third ability is Rocket Jump, which could be so much cooler. Honestly, anyone who's played Team Fortress, you know how to do a rocket jump. Basically, you aim at your feet and you shoot, and you jump at the same time, and it boosts you up. The same thing with this ability. That's all it does. It'll do damage in a small AoE, point-blank AoE around you. Here, the effective radius is just over 3 meters. And that's because it's a barrage. I think it's by default probably 2.5, probably 3 meters. Not a huge blast area. In comparison to this, the blast area here is 4 meters. So you can aim that instead of having things beat on you to get within range. And the damage really isn't that huge either. The base damage here is 400. If you want to use Repulsor Blast, which I would probably use over this skill, and it's a default Dreadnought skill. I mean, your effect radius is larger to start, and your base damage is actually higher to start as well. And that's even a level lower than this one. So that's well, a couple item levels, because this is it's a green as opposed to a common. So it's really not that great as a damage ability. In fact, if you're using it as a damage ability, you're probably missing out on a whole bunch of damage that you could be using other skills for. Where this skill is nice is a mobility skill, which I've talked about before, that I enjoy using these skills, you know, especially when you're in climbing areas, in Devil's Tusk, or certain parts of Serato, where you've got to climb almost sheer mountain faces. It helps because, you know, if you're trying to get somewhere and you're almost out of juice, you can hit this, and it gives you quite a bonus altitude to possibly get where you're going. But like I said, it will do point-blank splash damage. I wouldn't count on it for using it that way, just because even though you're a Dreadnought, you're not invincible. And there's better ways to go about things. So as an ability, as a mobility ability, it's alright. As a damage ability, you're probably better off bagging it for something else. Having said that, let's take a look at some of the replacements that you could use. Like I said before, Repulsor Blast is a good substitute. It does point-blank AoE damage, It looks cool, it's fun to use, and knocks your enemies away so they're not beating on you. And it does better damage than rocket jump. Explosive rounds are an excellent option. It gives you percentage damage boost, and it gives you a small splash AoE to all of your primary weapon shots rounds. So, and it's got a small splash. It's only a 2-meter splash, and you get to use it for, I've got it here, for a little over about 6.5 seconds. One thing to note with exploding rounds, make sure you reload your primary weapon first. There's nothing more frustrating than activating that ability, starting to shoot, and then having to reload through the second half of the ability. So make sure you just tap your R or whatever you've got bound for your reload, then activate it and go to town. So, you know, it's a fun ability. It lasts for, like I said, for a little bit. And if you've got a group of enemies together, you can do, you know, pretty significant damage with that. It's basically pray and spray at that point. And then you can follow it up with your particle beams. You know, if you're doing AoE damage and they're all packed in nice for you. So between those two abilities, you can do pretty good AoE damage with your LMG and that particle ability. And just so you get to take a look at what the repulsor blast looks like, you know, lots of fun. And then things go flying everywhere, which is great. It's always fun. So, to wrap up these main abilities, personally, I don't really like the combat shotgun. Other folks do. Try it out, see if you like it. Try modifying it the way I discussed. See if it's for you. If it's not, there's other abilities. Don't worry about it. Charge explosive rounds, excellent replacement for combat shotgun if that's the way you want to go. Particle beams, excellent. Keep it, use it, love it. And then there's a difference between rocket jump and repulsor blasts. Again, up to you. Other abilities that you can pick up, turret mode. It'll give you a small damage reduction ability while you're in turret mode. Increased rate of fire and accuracy. But it locks you down. You can't move while it's active. This is pretty good ability to use if you're out of harm's way. Or if you're far enough away where you can get away with using this and not get your face torn off. So you just like that, he locks down, and it's not a timed ability. It'll stay up as long as you have it, or until you die, or until you deactivate it. So you can see the spread. It doesn't spread out as far. It spreads out slower. You get a small, I think, reload speed bonus, and you can just keep pounding on it like this. You know, so that's an option. Turret mode is also an option, and there's also heavy armor. If you're a person who likes the combat shotgun and you want to get nice and close, yeah, that's an option for you to use heavy armor to give you some damage absorption, so that you can get in those close range. So I'm going to come right back and show you the HKM, but first we're going to do this. So the HKM is called shoulder rockets. Basically, once you activate it, it will start shooting rockets out of your shoulders, aka like a Battletech mech, and they will be headed to wherever your reticle is aiming. It'll keep shooting for the duration, which here is 2 seconds. So you could possibly mod this out in a number of different ways. You could go for duration, if you can mod that way, or you could just do charge speed, which I do for most of my HKMs, so I can get to use them quicker. If you didn't know, charge speed on an HKM decreases the amount of time that it needs to recharge. Here we go. So you can see like with that, and it actually does really good damage. It's a pretty easy way to clear out a room if you're inside doing an Ares mission. If you unleash that, it does quite a bit of damage, and splash damage as well. To round out this Arsenal Battleframe guide, we're going to talk about perks. Now, the way you want to flesh out your arsenal depends on your playstyle. Personally, I've been playing a playstyle with the arsenal as a mid-range DPS class. Unlike some of the other dreads, that it's almost it's good for you to get close, or you have to get close due to your weapons and your abilities. Those classes you're going to be taking a lot of damage because of your proximity to the targets. I feel the arsenal can do comparable damage at a mid-range, a little further range. I mean, just looking at the range of the LMG compared to the HMG, you've got an extra 30 meters as far as your long-range capability goes there. Particle beam also gives you an excellent option for a low cooldown. So I think the mid-range is the way that I prefer to play this class. But having said that, if you want to play them close range, you can. That way you can take advantage of the combat shotgun and some of the other point-blank damage abilities, the rocket jump and the repulsor blast, and also the absorption bomb, which I didn't talk about in the abilities, because that's it's a mid-level, level 24, I believe, is the first time you can craft and use that ability. That's an interesting ability to take a look at. Having said that, first up is fast hands. With these LMGs and the HMGs of the Dread class, you've got gigantic clips. You can go up to 300 rounds in these clips, which is great because you can fire forever. But when you run out of bullets in your clip, it takes you a very long time to reload. The base reload time on the LMG is 2.5 seconds, which is actually fairly significant. This reload perk will cut that down 10%. So that's shaving a quarter of a second off. So that's helpful. Not top tier, top thing that you need to be looking for, but when you've got extra perk points, that's an option, a well-spent option. Munitions. It's the Arsenal exclusive perk. Every time you use an ability, you get 10% of your ammo back of max capacity. This is an excellent perk, I feel, unless you want to carry around a bunch of ammo packs. If you want to do that, feel free to. It's only, 100 crystite per pack if you buy them from a vendor. Probably less if you build your own. But I like this because it gives me constant reload. It doesn't give you a full reload, but it gives you constant bullets. So if you're using your abilities on cooldown and picking up the random ammo pack, I haven't had much of a problem with running out of ammo with this frame compared to some other frames. Like the Dragonfly, for example. That frame's always running out of ammo. So this is an excellent choice. This is one of the first two perks that I actually picked up. Going down the line, we've got Ballistics Expert. Your main weapons shoot bullets. A lot of bullets. So if you can increase your bullet damage by 5%, every bullet that you throw out of the end of your gun is doing 5% more damage. Love it. Gotta love it. Well worth spent point right here. Resilient Plating. This is one of the first two perks that I picked up as well. This is exclusive to the Dreadnoughts class. When you get low health, below 25%, you start regenerating 1% max health per second. As you get on in levels, 1% is a lot of energy. Not energy, it's a lot of health. As the frames get bigger and bigger, the Dreadnoughts scale even higher than the other frames as far as their health pool goes. So the larger your health pool, the more you'll get back from this perk. This is a good perk for both the mid-range play type and for the close-range play type, obviously, because you're going to be taking damage. There's 2 more here in the basics. Combat Veteran. This is an arsenal. You unlock this at level 10. This increases your reload speed and your weapon switch speed by 15%. I don't know why they're increasing weapon switch speed. It's almost instantaneous as it is now. So even just throwing away that half of this buff, your reload speed increases by 15%. I just checked, and yes, these 2 do stack. I didn't do any mathematical check because that stat does not change on your character sheet even when you get the buffs or the perks loaded up. So it still showed my reload speed to be 2.5 seconds there. It still showed my reload speed to be 2.5 seconds here. So you're not going to see it. It's going to be a hidden number. It's going to be a hidden bonus, if you will. But it is noticeable. I noticed a difference between when I had just fast hands and when I had fast hands and combat veteran on top of that. So those 2 do stack. Reload speed, again, like I said with here, if you have both of these open, which you should at level 10, obviously pick this one up first because it'll give you an extra 5%. Later on, if you've got extra spot, you can take that, or any one of these damage soak mitigation abilities would be good for that as well. Finally, Harden. Let's see if I can find it. Is another ability that you can take a look at if you are one of those players that are playing close range type gameplay where you're taking a lot of damage. Here it is. This is you have to have a mammoth at level 10 to unlock this, which I don't have yet. After taking damage, your armor hardens to reduce the next source of damage by 25%. Harden has a 7-second internal cooldown, which means after it triggers and goes off, it has 7 seconds before it can trigger again. If you're taking shots from a dread, multiple shots, it's not going to be that useful. But if you're doing Ares missions and you are getting nailed by some of the chosen plasma rifles, or taking sniper shots, this could cut down that damage quite a bit. So that's another option to take for your basics. Moving on to intermediates. A lot of these skills, honestly, are fairly lackluster. The only one that I really like is Necrotic Bite. You get a Recluse level 20. It increases your damage to humanoid targets by 10%, which is very helpful. A lot of the endgame stuff, there you're going against Chosen, you're going against bandits of all sorts of types. So 10% bonus on top of that is very nice. I'm sure there's a couple other ones in here that that you could pick up if you wanted, but really, well, epicenter, AoE damage if you're close range and you're using your rocket jump, and if you're using your repulsor blast, you could pick that up. Like I said before, I play more mid-range, so that doesn't really interest me. When you get to advanced, this one right here, your arsenal perk at level 30, increases your magazine size and your total ammo capacities by 20%. This is an excellent perk. Not only does this increase your pools of ammo, but it also synergizes with munitions, because this gives you 10% of your ammo capacity. So if you have a larger pool, you're going to get more back for using your abilities. So there's a pretty good synergy there. In advanced, if you're playing close range arsenal, there's a couple other abilities here. And intermediate. Oh, sorry, in advanced. There's a sentient armor. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Here it is. Automatically adjusts Battleframe arms to reduce damage from the damage type by 20% for 10 seconds. So if you're getting shot, which is kinetic damage, it'll reduce that type of damage 20% for 10 seconds, with internal cooldown of 30 seconds. So, like I said, if you're playing close range, might be something to look at, and deflection plating as well. Basically, it gives a chance to bounce off your armor and go back and hit some other target. So those are two options if you're playing close range. And as far as the master goes, it's called Explosives Expert. If I can find it here. Here you go. It increases all explosive damage dealt from abilities by 25%. This is really good because when you get higher level, your HKM does a boatload of damage for 1. If you use explosive rounds, that's 25% extra damage on that. You've got your particle beam. That's also considered explosive damage. So you can see where this perk really shines, coming into all of that. An alternate may be the rapid kinesis. Increases your HKM by 30% charge time. So while this doesn't synergize with all your other abilities, it'll let you use it a little quicker. So those are two of the basic options for Master. I'd probably prefer the Explosive Expert over the other one. I just wanted to add in 2 more perks after looking over some of my notes that I missed. And the Advanced Kill Stealer is an excellent perk if you're if you're doing boss mobs. Obviously, anything below 50%, you get a 30% damage bonus to. So the second half of finishing a boss, that's excellent perk for higher levels. Things die pretty quick in lower levels, so you may not want it then. So it's situational. And another perk here, when you get up to master level, another option would be Hunter, because you're throwing out lots of damage, repeatedly striking the same target, increases damage 10% per hit, up to 40% increase. So that'll take you a split second to land 4 shots, and you'll be automatically up to a 40% damage bonus. So those are 2 more abilities, 2 more perks to look at that I didn't previously cover. So, in a nutshell, that is the arsenal. Overall, personally, I'm not that thrilled with this this Battleframe. I think they could have done better with it. I don't know what they could have done better with it. I think they may change combat shotgun to be not bound by the number of ammo, but maybe a timed ability, as some other abilities are. So it'll give you maybe 8 seconds instead of 8 shells, and you can just rip off as many shots as you want. Or maybe during that time you keep your movement bonus throughout the whole ability. So there's ways that they can improve this frame, and they may in the future. But as of right now, in early September, I'm really having a hard time finding where this frame shines compared to other frames. It seems like anything that you'd want to do with this this frame, you could do with other frames. But having said that, you may have seen this frame at work here, and you may decide that this is a frame for you to pick up and level out. Some of the abilities, the perks that you unlock, are useful to other frames too. So that may be another reason why you want to work on this frame. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this guide. Please feel free to comment down below. Subscribe to my channel so you can be updated whenever a new guide comes out. I'm going to be working on the rest of the dreadnoughts. I've got the Mammoth and the Rhino to work on yet. And then I may actually go back and do the Accord frames just for beginners, so they can take a look at those for some ideas. Please comment down below. If you have anything to add to this guide, comment down below. If I've made some gross mistake, please comment down below. Correct me where I'm wrong, and I'll annotate over the top of the guide. I've made mistakes in the past, and no one's perfect. And I'm trying to give you guys a good idea Maybe not as far as endgame stuff goes, but for people that are curious about the class, that haven't unlocked it yet, and want to see what the class actually does. That's the major idea for these guides. So yeah, check out my other guides up here. Click this annotation over here to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.